I know you've been told that Broly isn't good, but he's top tier, and now I'm going to show you why. Broly is your ideal point character since he doesn't need meter to get a strong assist-based meta going. His normals are slower than the rest and nothing special. Even late activating armor and lights that clash with mediums aren't enough. So in the neutral, you're going to have to rely on specials to get into your meta. Not many if anybody can hang with Broly in a projectile fight. He can easily hit confirm in their combo off them too. Broly is definitely a slow moving guy and a huge target at that, so you're not going to overwhelm your opponent with movement. His meta is perhaps the best in the game and easily overshadows his faults. A good Broly can be measured by his usage of the charge special. First off, all versions are very punishable on block. Secondly, this is the only attack Broly has that possesses more than one hit of armor. He absorbs everything aside from supers and grabs till after the impact. If you encounter specials that have startup invincibility, whoever impacts first loses, usually. The light version has the fastest startup and can easily be comboed into, but there's nothing noteworthy about it. The medium version is what you want to be using since it's a full screen corner carry smash attack. So there's definitely no reason to use this in a combo if you already use a smash attack, since it'll just act like the light version. You can't combo into the medium version normally, and you also can't combo afterwards without using meter or an assist. I know it sounds like a hassle to use, but the fact that you can plow through almost everything makes it worth it. The heavy version is a quicker medium charge that can be comboed from a crouching medium. Normally the heavy versions of specials aren't really necessary on most characters, but this is a huge exception. The reason why you wouldn't want to just do the light then opt for a vanishing attack is because you're not going to get the corner, and that's a big deal as you'll find out later. Broly's command grab is a good alternative to the Dragon Rush, seeing as you can cancel into it from normals and you can get some hefty damage off it easily. All versions count as a smash, and you can only use a command grab once in the combo. The aerial command grab is actually considered a different special, so you can have both a stand-in and an air grab in the same combo. Starting with the ground versions first, the light command grab has the least range but the fastest startup and gives you a slide knockdown, which sucks. The medium version reaches further and is slower, but it gives you a small wall bounce. You can combo meterlessly in the corner or with a vanishing attack in open space. The heavy version has increased range and you get a bigger wall bounce, allowing you to combo in open space with a well-timed dash. Heavy usage is minimal because the slight damage increase isn't worth risking the meter initially, as opposed to just using the medium version with the vanishing attack. The combo extension is much easier too. If you happen to grab an opponent when you already used the smash, your opponent will just tech immediately, giving you a few frames advantage. The air versions are all similar to each other. The light version has fast startup but short travel distance. The medium has a longer startup, but much further travel distance. And the heavy is the best of both, having a fast startup and a long travel distance with added damage. Upon grabbing, you'll throw your opponent behind you with a slide knockdown. You can use a vanishing attack after the throw, however if you're higher up in the air, you'd want to delay the vanish a few frames to get your opponent lower to the ground. If you use this after the catch version of your jumping heavy, your opponent will instantly tech, not letting you combo afterwards. On a side note, you do recover after a whiffed air grab when still airborne, which can lead to some interesting failed attempts. Quarter circle forward and special gives you Broly's eraser blow. At first glance, this looks like a below average projectile due to the slow startup, but Broly recovers faster than normal afterwards, which oddly enough gives him the advantage in fireball fights. It reflects smaller ki blasts and clashes with beams. If you happen to hit your opponent before Broly releases, it'll transition into a grab that counts as a smash. Difficult to combo with an assist in open space, but easy with the vanishing attack. You can combo meterlessly in the corner though. Quarter circle back in special is Broly's powered shell, which it protects you from all projectiles that aren't supers. The shell will disappear if you take damage, block anything, activate a super, connect a smash, or after 4 seconds of usage. Not that this is a big deal, but Powered Shell has no armor along with light normals and ki blasts. And Dragon Rushes. And powering up. And walking. Once again I find myself talking about another super, and this time it's a level 3 with special and heavy. It travels incredibly slow, but it lets you recover early, allowing for a combo extension. Definitely not the most efficient use of meter, and generally not recommended in competitive matches, but it's there. Let's take a look at what moves need to be on your mind and their specific ranges. The most important attack Broly has in the neutral is his medium charge. It can't be stopped by normals or specials, and it takes your opponent to the corner on hit. Proper assists are mandatory to get the full benefits of this, seeing as they can turn a block charge into advantage, and on hit gives you a corner combo that leads to a 50-50 guess to death. When used properly, your opponent should be scared to do anything in the neutral, which is exactly what you want as a big slow character. Once again, you need the right assist to make this charge viable. Without the proper assist, it's just a slow attack that will penalize you at least half your health on block. When your opponent's worried about your charge, you now have a few options in the long range. For safety, you can activate Powered Shell, which can be helpful against some of the more pesky airborne assists. Most people will go into a defensive mindset when you activate this, so be ready with your block string pressure. And on the other hand, if you want to goad your opponent into being aggressive, Eraser Blow is your best bet. From my personal experiences, people get offended when you try to engage them in a projectile fight as Broly, mainly because they think he sucks at it, but in reality he's pretty good and ends up overwhelming your opponent. Obviously, when your opponent realizes that they're not going to beat you in a projectile game, they're going to jump, and you can usually sniff this out, in which case your air grab works nicely. At long and medium range, a standard Ki Blast will combo off of the Eraser, setting up nicely for a vanishing attack. Using 2 Ki Blasts makes the hit confirmation easier. In the mid range, you have your generic go-to offense, your low air dash in heavy and a grounded stand in medium. On a successful jump in heavy, you have enough time to quickly dash and combo with light. Normally this would destroy your combo damage due to the increased scaling, but such isn't the case for Broly, and in some cases even produces a max damage combo. Normally you should use a crouch in medium instead of the stand in medium, but I don't do that, so let's take a deeper look into this. Hit confirming a crouch in medium into a heavy charge will be extremely difficult, so most likely you're going to find yourself canceling into the Eraser Blow, which is generally safe on block thanks to the pushback, but it's unlikely that the combo afterwards will take your opponent to the corner. By using a stand in medium first, you're going to have more time to see if they actually got hit, and of course if they did get hit, take them to the corner. You'd think that you need to use lows to get your opponent to block low, or else overheads will never work, but good players block low by default, so there's really no need to condition your opponent to do so. I have a strong history playing big slow characters in most games, and my general logic applies to Broly too. I don't actually expect to hit my opponent with initial attacks in the neutral. I want to get in and make my opponent block a setup, then guess wrong on a 50-50 I force on them. Sure, it's great if you score random combos in the neutral, but I've learned not to expect this to happen, thus basing my strategy around landing random hits in the neutral really isn't optimal, and that's why I don't bother with the crouch in medium. However, if I happen to get that random hit in the neutral, by using stand in medium I'll have more time to hit confirm into the optimal combo, which will lead to the corner where Broly's a nightmare to deal with. I really hope that made sense, because it made sense to me. Here's the tier list with who works best with what Broly holds dear to his heart. And by that I mean how he likes to hurt people. It really does look weird with only 3 columns, but that's all he needs. I also find it amusing that Vegeta isn't topping the list like usual, and the Gohans provide some use with their assists. Other than those, there aren't too many surprises. The Captain, Yamcha, and 16 have always been top tier assists, with the Gokus and Nappa hanging just behind. A few of the wild cards like Beerus, Cell, and Gotenks aren't doing so hot, while Frieza and Majin Buu crept up when no one was looking. Well, let's get started. Vanishing attacks are always beneficial if you can combo off it raw, and Broly's no exception. A point is awarded if you can combo into a jumping attack, another if you can combo with a stand in medium, and a third if you can combo into a medium or heavy charge. Your timing needs to be fast when using Yamcha and Goku Blue. The easiest follow-up is light medium. Goku and Goku Black get a charge by using crouching medium into a heavy charge. Kid Buu needs to be called out late, very possible to miss. and you can't hit confirm into the heavy charge easily. When using Trunks, wait till your opponent passes over your head, then use a light to begin your combo. This isn't easy to do, so you might just want to stick with a single light, then jump for the juggle. Vegeta saves you meter with the medium charge. A quick dash makes a combo with Piccolo possible, and it's not as hard as it looks. Majin Buu has really strict timing, and he can't combo at long range. The second charge column is really important because it directly translates to how much of a bully you can be, and of course is something everyone should strive for. You get a point if you can combo after a successful charge, an extra point if you can get a full extension. A point's given if you can use an assist to make the charge safe in case it's blocked. And 2 points are awarded if you can call your assist at the point of impact for protection. The reason why you get 2 points for that is because normally if you want to make the charge safe on block, you have to call out the assist before the point of impact. But if you scored the hit, that assist is no longer available and you'll have to use your second assist for the extension. For the assist that can protect you at the point of impact, if you landed the hit, the game will immediately go into the cinematic transition, preventing your assist from even coming out. Which means you didn't even have to use your assist and he'll be available for use after the cinematic transition is done. And of course, if you didn't land the hit, well, you're protected. At first glance, it looks like Gohan just barely gives you an extension, but if you delay calling him out, he can actually give you a crouch and medium. The best timing I got is to quickly tap the assist button when your opponent hits the wall after the cinematic pause. Goku and Goku Black can only combo if you're closer than half of the distance to the corner. Okay, here's a default starting distance, and let's move to the center of that. You'll notice the beam was just short. Now let's move beyond the halfway point. As you can see, the beam just barely reached and I was able to get a combo. After a great multitude of seconds, I decided to dock the Goku's 2 points for this. The timing is to call to Goku sometime between the activation and the impact. If you delay Frieza or Bardock a little, you can combo a crouch and medium. But if you don't want to risk dropping the combo, just use light special heavy to be on the safe side. Trunks can't get a crouch and medium, but just use light special heavy instead. With Beerus, add a light before the crouch and medium. Or you can add everything if you want. When called out early, Goku Blue and Gotenks can protect you on block only. Piccolo, however, cannot protect you on block. You can combo with light special heavy though. Kid Gohan is similar to his adult version, however the timing is to quickly tap the assist button right when the cinematic pause ends. Alternatively, a better route is to not mess with the custom timing and just use light special heavy. It doesn't protect you on block either. To combo with Majin Buu in 21, use light special heavy. 21 does protect you at the point of impact, but you'll also get hit. So while you technically still have the advantage, it's not the ideal situation, so she lost the point. And finally, we have the typical low juggle extensions. They got a point if you can combo after a double jump juggle in the corner. You're gonna want the longest combo to allow your assist to recover. There's an additional point if you can combo with the stand-in attack that leads towards a command grab, which is important because that'll allow you to end with some nice setups. On a side note, the footage shown will show the stand-in heavy being a smash. However, in a real match this won't be the case. I'm just too lazy to do the full combo for each demonstration. They get a third point if you can combo into a charge in open space. An extra point can be added or taken away if the time is reasonable or very strict to the point where consistency is an issue. While Tien can get a high standing medium if you call him out immediately after the heavy, it's much easier to call him out at the same time with the heavy and skip the stand-in attack altogether. Yamcha needs to be called out just after the heavy. Gohan can get a combo that leads to a grab. However, the timing is very strict, so it's best just to use a super dash for consistency. The timing is after the heavy. The timing for Goku is at the same time you attack with heavy, and it's possible to get a medium charge in open space. However, a heavy charge is practically error-proof. Call Frieza after the heavy and you can get an easy super dash follow-up. But with some pinpoint timing, you can actually get a heavy charge in open space. Kid Buu can get a charge in open space if you call him immediately after the second light. In the corner, the timing is at the same time with the second medium. This definitely isn't an easy extension. Call Nappa out after the heavy. Bardock's at the same time your heavy impacts. Goku Blue can get a heavy charge in open space, but it's hard. I think the best way is light, medium, double jump, medium light, slightly delayed heavy, with the assist timing being just before the heavy. Luckily the corner is way easier. Tap the assist button with the heavy. Vegeta gets a medium charge in open space when you call him out slightly before the heavy. You can get a heavy charge in open space with Trunks if you call him out just after you push heavy. Call Beerus with the heavy for a stand-in medium. The timing with Cell is right before the heavy, but it's fairly strict. An easier version is between the medium and the heavy, then use a super dash. 16 can get a charge in open space, but the time is very strict. His normal extension, however, isn't. Call him out after you push heavy. With Vegeta Blue, call him out at the same time with the second light. The easiest follow-up is the super jump after them. Call Gotenks out at the same time you push the second medium, and then slightly delay the heavy. Super dash the follow-up. Call Piccolo after you push the heavy button. You can get a full conversion with Kid Gohan, but it's very difficult. So instead call him out slightly after the heavy and use a super dash. It's possible to get the ideal extension with 21, but it's extremely strict, so I just go with the medium to a juggle instead. That's pretty strict also. Majin Buu's timing's with the heavy, and it's easy to get a super dash afterwards. The timing with hit is after you push the heavy. This is deceptively hard at times despite its lenient timing. When using big slow characters in most fighting games, the problem you face is not getting murdered by the faster characters. And most of the time fast characters can deal just as much damage as you do, which is why big slow characters are generally regarded as low tier. When using such characters, it's important maintaining the advantage over everything else, even over getting max damage, because what's the point of getting more damage when you're most likely going to get overwhelmed afterwards? So what's the difference between two 50% combos and two 70% combos? Nothing worth losing your advantage over. Now back to Broly specifically. On a conventional first connect, our goal is to take the opponent to the corner because that's where we can finish the combo in a very specific way to force a guess. And if they guess wrong on the setup, that's your second combo and now they're dead. Typically we can get about 40% with the initial combo, and the goal is to get 60% with the second. Meter shouldn't be an issue for Broly because of his block string, which we'll get into that later, and in some situations you build the meter needed with the combos themselves. There's 3 corner-only enders that maintain the advantage over your opponent. The first ender is to finish your juggle with down heavy. Cancel into your medium command grab just after the little fire effects pop up around Broly's feet to stop most grounded attempts. The only exceptions are the attacks that have startup invincibility, but that's to be expected. If your opponent techs up or decides to jump afterwards, an instant air grab will catch them. But if your opponent is mashing light as they're holding up back, you'll get interrupted. So that's why you want to use the eraser blow instead. It'll beat mashing opponents both grounded and airborne. However, that's beaten by simply blocking. So this is a 3-way guess. The setup isn't bad, but it's the worst one of the 3. Ending your combo with light heavy special canceling into a light command grab gives you a different situation. Due to the distance created, you're out of range from the initial light from half the cast. The additional airtime of an upward tech still falls victim if they don't jump upon landing. Invincible specials won't interrupt you. If your opponent has a light auto combo that'll stop you, or some other means, just use light, then kill him. You do have several frames advantage after the command grab after all, so they can't interrupt your light if you don't mistime it. I personally just mash light till I see the impact, then I switch to mashing medium till the eraser blow starts. The downside of using light is that if your opponent was holding up back while mashing, they're gonna tech out. But of course, Broly can deal with that. In the event your opponent doesn't press buttons and tries to jump out, an instant air grab will catch them for sure. A whiffed air grab can also be used as an opportunity as an alternate jump in, I guess, or you can just backdash to safety. Okay, so this setup's better than the last, but the best setup is ending your combo high enough so your opponent gets the air tech, but low enough so they don't sail over you if they tech forward. Sometimes it's a light charge, sometimes it's a stand-in special. It's really depending on how high your opponent is. In the example, I'll be using the light charge ender. What happens here is that if your opponent air techs anywhere but down, they get grabbed. In the rare event that your opponent air techs down, a medium command grab will stop them. From what I've seen, people who are just mashing a crouch and light will air tech down, so don't expect this from good players. The more common response from a good opponent is not to air tech when they realize what's happening, so by default they're gonna ground tech. Which this is where the second 50-50 happens, and I imagine you know what to do here. You don't need to dash forward, however I do it because it helps me with my timing. The only grounded attacks that can beat this are the ones that have invincible startups. I added more key blasts just for meter building purposes. They're not necessary though. If your opponent ground techs upward or jumps, well, you know. As you can see, this is the best post-combo 50-50. And if they know not to air tech, they still have to deal with another 50-50 upon landing. Originally I wanted to do some fancy presentation for this, but I'm not sure how much longer that'll take, and this video was already delayed for way too long, so you're gonna get text instead. Depending on what assist you use and what you can actually do in a real match, you're gonna change these a little bit, maybe. Okay, so you'll choose any open space combo, which they all do about 40% damage and end with one of the 3 setups. Then choose one of the post-reset kill combos. If you don't have the resources, or if your opponent has no clue what's happening to them and are not worth using meter, you can select 2 of these corner post reset combos and kill them with 3 combos instead of 2. Oh, and of course they all end with the setup. When playing against competent people, you have to know what to do when your opponent's being defensive. For this demonstration, I use the purple guys because they only impact once. Therefore, if you use multi-hidden assists, this is going to be much easier. The loop is a low air dash and heavy, quickly dash into a crouch and light, stand in light, medium, heavy, cancelled into eraser, assist, then repeat. There's only 2 gaps in this loop, before and after the heavy. The gap before the heavy is extremely small and your opponent will get hit if they try to jump out of it. This is also where your assist will begin the recharge. The gap after the heavy is large enough for your opponent to jump, but they're not going to get free. Depending on your assist, there might be a gap after the eraser, but it's not a big deal. A common issue is having a gap between your jumping heavy and your crouch and light. You're either not using the heavy low enough or you're not using your crouch and light fast enough. But while it is an unintended gap, it's usually so small that your opponent will get hit if they try to jump out of it. So against antsy opponents, it's actually beneficial. This block string is pretty tough to deal with, especially knowing that it can keep going indefinitely. If your opponent tries to contest you randomly, they're gonna get devastated. But sooner or later, or if they watch this video, they're gonna know when the ideal times to reflect are. And when your opponent shows signs of intelligence, you can punish them with a command grab. Thanks for checking out the video. I feel accomplished that I was able to get 2 videos done within a reasonable amount of time, although this Broly video was experiencing a ton of outside delays. Anyway, till next time.